Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the grand finals of the FACEIT Challenger Invitational, sponsored by Alienware, G2A, and Overwolf. I am Richard Cam. Alongside me is James Leary, and we are going to be getting into the final games very shortly.
We are. It's grand finals time, so this is what the teams have been battling for pretty much just over 2 weeks now. Ooh, no. I thought we were going into picks and pans then. I was going to say, we were going pretty quickly here, but this is the bracket that we've been powering through today. 2-2-0s apiece. Yeah,
it has actually been very, very fast series. Gamers 2, they almost won the second game. It was very, very close. There was a lot of back and forth action, but the Reason Gaming Unicorns of Love matchup, Reason Gaming just kind of ran home with both of those games very, very quickly. They weren't the longest of games, around 30 minutes. Same sort of thing happened to Ninjas in Pyjamas, but both of them progressing through their respective matchups in 2-0. So it's crunch time.
It is indeed, and you know, I mean, it's been a fair road here. We saw Unicorns of Love come out of their group undefeated and put in a best of 3. It was a little bit trickier for them. They, of course, did have a substitute. I think that's kind of been a running trend here, but the teams that have done better today seem to be the ones that, actually saying that, NIP were up against, NIP had their full roster, but Reason don't. They're playing with Jokies today, which, you know, it's one of those things that every team in Challenger right now on their day can take games or series off other teams.
Yeah, I mean, subs literally just go one of 2 ways. Either they really do well on your team, or they're not necessarily the cause of it, or it's just the fact that like the team doesn't have the synergy, or it just doesn't work out with them. But clearly wasn't the case for Reason Gaming, who looked very, very strong. So we only have another couple moments until we get into Champion Select picks and bans. What do we think is going to happen through this Champion Select? So we've had a number of different bans. We had, of course, a couple Maokai picks as well from Cabachard, learning the error of his ways.
Yep.
So again, that might be drawing a ban up there. We've seen Alex Sich on Ari in both of the games that they played. Went huge in both of those games, so there's a lot to keep in mind from these teams.
Yeah, I feel like we're probably going to see at least Inban away from Ku. Yep. You kind of always see that Brom away from Voidal. And, you know, Reason, I don't feel like they've got as many characteristic picks as NIP do. Not to say that NIP don't have, you know, a lot that they can play, but typically there are a couple of champions that are synonymous in Challenger right now with Ninjas in Pyjamas. Yeah,
Ninjas in Pyjamas definitely draw bans, whereas Reason Gaming are just kind of solid on, you know, a ton of different champions, but they don't have like one single pick, which, you know, you would say, we need to ban this out. Like Power of Evil Syndra, for example, we have to ban that, otherwise we just lose. So, yeah, like from Ninjas in Pyjamas, I feel like they have more freedom when it comes to the banning phase, but time will tell.
Yes, time will tell indeed. But while we've got some time, you can head over to FACEIT.com, get signed up for the FACEIT platform, where you can play League of Legends, 1v1, 5v5, you know, Quake and CSGO if they take your fancy as well. Play against people of your own skill level. You can be put into one of the leagues. You can see them there all on your screen, all the way from bronze. We
like
brought
yourself.
Bronze back. Wow. I'm right there alongside you in bronze.
Yeah, that's true.
All the way up to the equivalent of Challenger. So once you are placed in your league, if you end up at the top of the league at the end of whenever the season draws to a close on the FACEIT platform, you will get some pretty cool prizes.
Indeed. So you can play in multiple different tournaments, which will be hosted literally all the time. So there'll always be a tournament that you want to enter. 5v5 when it comes to League of Legends, or even 1v1s on the Arrow map. So if you are the master of 1v1s, there's a place for you on the FACEIT platform as well.
Yeah, indeed. Although I've heard those claims before.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Doesn't always go well for you, though, does it?
No, not for the Merry Goose.
No. You always end up the Merry Goose. But
yeah. In fact, the Merry Goose got away in that game.
He did. That was Voidal. To be honest, there were a couple of good escapes in that game, or in that series. We've seen a couple already today, but you know, Gamers 2 in that second game against Ninjas in Pyjamas, they just ran that unorthodox composition. And Ocelot tweeted about half an hour ago that NIP just seemed to have their number. Yeah. And I kind of have to agree with him. Their playstyles are just wildly different. And NIP's is far more consistent because Gamers 2 need to get snowballing. And sometimes they just don't end up getting there.
Yeah, especially in the second game, they went with a composition which was like do or die. We get the early game, we snowball. They had the Riven in the jungle. They had Ocelot on the Syndra in the mid lane. If we don't win the early game, we just lose, and that's exactly what happened in the second game. There was some back and forth action as they started to pick up kills, started to ramp up in tempo, but by that time it was already too far gone. Like the game was already done.
Yeah, indeed. And hopefully we will get into picks and bans fairly shortly. I believe we're only waiting on one player. And as I say that...
Oh, as if by magic.
It's time. It is.
Here we
are. Picks and bans.
Okay, so we mentioned the Braum from Voidal. It was a pick that was given to him and gifted to him on a silver platter all the way through the DreamHack summer tournament. And Morgana Lucian. Okay, so we saw some Lucian earlier today, actually in the AD carry role, not in the mid lane, which has also seen some play. And Morgana as well will be the next pick out, or ban out rather, from Ninjas in Pyjamas.
Yeah, it's just an incredibly strong set of champions there that have been banned out. Both of them are pretty much top of their respective roles. So, and actually both have that ambiguity of, it could go mid if we really wanted it to.
So, Reason have not been as specific with their bans as we thought they were going to be. Lucian is more like a blanket ban more than anything. Freeze, as you mentioned before, has liked his Kog'Maw over the last couple of weeks, so can also play the Lucian. Maokai has been banned out, so they obviously saw the games early today with Cabachard playing Maokai in both of his games, so they're going to be taking that away from him. That leaves Braum open, that leaves Lee Sin open, leaves Ahri open, leaves Gragas open. And surely the last ban from NIP will be Kassadin, unless they force Reason to go for the Kassadin ban.
This is going very different to what I was kind of anticipating here on the Reason side. And if Reason don't ban Gragas here, I would really struggle to see NIP not just first pick Gragas. It's so good up in that top lane, doesn't really have any bad matchups.
It would leave Kassadin open though.
There's the Gragas ban. That I was going to say that they would likely, it was either Gragas or Kassadin, I think that was the two.
Kassadin alert. There we go.
There we go. It was only a matter of time.
I think NIP got the better of the bans phase there, picking up the first pick of Kassadin. However, that has left a lot open for Reason, who are now currently looking at, Galio is not really usually a champion that we see very often. Back in the day, we did see Galio support once. Yeah.
We did. Not going to see it.
No.
We won't see it.
Very unlikely. But the Kassadin first pick from NIP.
Yes, Kassadin first pick. Alex will be very confident on Kassadin. I mean, yes, he's not quite as good through the early and mid phase of the game as he used to be, but his late game, I guess you could say, got increased even more so. They just moved things around his kit a little bit, put more damage on Riftwalk, but made it harder to hit a while back, then adjusted things, put the shield on. So it's been adjusted, but I know Alex will be capable, very confident of,
absolutely,
of busting out a Kassadin here.
Yeah, we've actually only seen one cast in recent days from the LCS. I believe it was Froggen who was the one who picked that one up. It was let through the banning phase, and it was just like, Kassadin's still strong, guys. And they ran home with that game very, very quickly. Kog'Maw and Rengar will be the next pickups from Reason. So picking up those priority picks so far. Yeah,
and they're two champions that NIP have played a fair amount. They've played a lot of Kog'Maw on Freeze, and they have Ku has had Rengar a fair amount in the jungle, but that does leave open Lee Sin, which he's now just going to be confident. He could pick it up here, could pick it up later, if that is indeed what he's looking for. But we've seen a lot of Elise coupled with these mobile mid laners that are very good at catching. So either would be an option. Now, Amumu was banned in the last game.
Okay. It was banned out against them. I don't think we've actually seen Ku play Amumu.
No.
It was Kikis, I believe, who actually played Amumu the last time we saw it. Yeah. So that has been locked in along with the Fresh. So that will no doubt be going to Voidal. There was no Braum ban either. So obviously opting towards the Fresh over the Braum.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I guess we'll figure out exactly as it's continuing. The last time we saw Amumu was in a very unorthodox composition. It was that Zyra Nidalee setup that SK Prime were running in the bottom lane and Amumu jungle. So Amumu's Curse of the Sad Mummy is always going to be effective. It's always that, long duration snare. But typically has struggled up until recent times. Of course, now the addition of the items like the Quill Coat kind of help him clear that a little bit easier. but still has trouble in the early game, and that's a Vladimir. So we've got some very different picks coming out.
Okay, so Vladimir again is a champion who we see now and again. We see some play of Vladimir, but there's so many strong top laners at the moment that Vladimir's kind of just been like outshadowed.
Yeah.
Depends what else they're going for, but so far we've got the Cogmore there. We'll just have to see for the last pick to see, how the composition resolves itself. They also picked up the Tristana, which will no doubt be going. Oh, hello, 2 AD carries. Yep. It's Curse.
It's Curse.
Yeah. So Cogmore. So surely the Cogmore will be in the AD carry role, and then
I'd
we saw that. Yeah,
so.
and then the Tristana was mid lane coming out from Curse. That's how they run it.
Yeah, that's how Curse have run it. I would imagine it'll be the same. Just kind of, it's a 50-50, but we've seen Tristana mid recently rather than Cogmore. So, and this could be just as surprising. Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah,
interesting.
So they're running Lee Sin jungle, Nidalee AD.
Yeah.
Which Haydal ran, but they ran it with the Lucian mid. And they haven't got that this time. They've got Kassadin.
Yeah, they had like a quote-unquote dedicated AD carry in the mid lane, and then had the Nidalee in the bot lane. And they also had that with the Zyra, so they had the kill potential and they could execute them in the bot lane. Lee Sin... Okay, Lee Sin top lane, I guess.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Man, wow, okay.
This is a real curveball.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm struggling because there are about 3 or 4 champions that can all go in different places. It could be Lee Sin mid and Kassadin top lane because we have seen that.
Yeah.
I wonder how good that's going to do against... if that's a Lissandra, I'm going to completely... Unless there's a lot of placeholders here.
It doesn't feel like it, though. I don't think you would use Vladimir as a placeholder. And we haven't heard anything either. So...
There's a placeholder in the game. Okay, so we're going to find out what it is.
Okay. Choose the placeholder.
Probably
I'm thinking Vlad. Yeah.
Or maybe the Amumu. We've got spoilers.
We have spoilers from production.
Hopefully. That's the weird one. Cogmore is Braum. Amumu is Cogmore. Vlad is Irelia. And that's about it.
Okay, so
wow,
the Vladimir.
Okay,
all right,
so
we got 1 out of 3. Vladimir is the Irelia, and man, that's crazy. Okay, so Cogmore was Braum.
Yeah, Amumu was Cogmore.
Yeah.
For Freeze.
Yeah.
Braum is Cogmore. We'll see when it gets locked in. I have never had 3 placeholders in a game where... Okay, so we'll explain what exactly went on there. So we're playing on the live client, so not all of the players will have every single champion for every single role. So what you do is you lock in a pick that typically wouldn't be picked. So that's where you see Poppy and Heimerdinger and Teemo. Yeah. This game, they decided to use placeholders of champions the opposite team had already picked but didn't tell us.
Yeah.
So it got very confusing when we had legitimate picks lined up. So those are the lineups on your screen now. And now we don't have to go into crazy land of the coincidence of them locking Amumu and Nidalee and it actually have being played by SK.
Yeah, so actually after that, is anything out of the ordinary?
No.
I'm going to go with no, actually.
No, I'm going with no.
We've gone away from the crazy comps of like, this is a curse composition, this one, this is what they ran with Haydar the other day, and it's just like, no, it's actually just going to be completely bog standard.
Please, Poppy, Heimerdinger, Teemo.
Master Yi. I don't know. Okay, so now we have the compositions.
Couple of minutes.
They were. They
I was like, how
we started Fury crafting about them as well because it's like this could be like a legitimate composition. It's just like no.
Oh, teams are getting us good. Teams are getting us good.
Okay, so Xerath in the mid lane. That's actually one of the first Xeraths we've seen in the playoffs, or the first playoff Xerath that we've seen. We've seen it during the groups. Was very, very strong. Have seen it all over the world, and Ziggs was not banned out. So this is an alternative for Take Fun.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, it's a little bit longer range, perhaps, than a Ziggs would be. So it forces Alex to come a little bit closer, then you get the stun, then you follow up with the rest of the damage. But, I mean, Alex is probably not going to pick up kills in the laning phase, not without a lot of help, not without Take Fun being out of position completely. So it's just a way of consistently farming. against a Kassadin who has to come forward to the minion wave to farm. You can harass him out in the early game and get a lead there. But, I mean, now that we've got all of the team compositions locked in, you can see that NIP have some pretty late game focus here. When you look at a Kassadin, you look at a Cogmore, Nidalee is going to be very good at split pushing throughout the mid and late game. So that's the kind of the focus of NIP. Again, it's we're confident between the 20 and 40 minute mark. That is kind of our playground where we feel strongest, and we'll take you there.
Yeah, so meanwhile, with Reason, they've picked up the Braum, which is kind of like Voidal's pickup. Voidal is super strong on that champion, but that will be going to Libic this time, and that will be also the Tristana, so they also have some peel there. As you mentioned, the Zareth no doubt will be able to like punish the Kassadin in lane. We've got the Rengar, which I actually saw Zayu play earlier today. Zayu. He was on the Lee Sin, then he went to the Rengar, was extremely strong, had the Rengar jump in on top of all the rest of the ultimates they had. And then Irelia in the top lane. Irelia has been seeing a lot of bans, honestly.
Yeah.
How many times have we actually seen Irelia actually played?
Not many. I think 1 or 2 games. I mean, on the same way that NIP have Kassadin and Cogmore, Tristana Irelia will do a similar thing.
Yeah.
They're going to scale very well into the late game. So both teams have kind of these different aspects of rounding out their composition on their power curve of when in the game they're going to be the most useful. But man, we've seen Kassadin time and time again, and there are very few champions that can even contend with him in the late game.
Yeah, I mean, he's usually, in the ban chamber. He never usually gets onto the rift, but when he's unleashed, he just goes ham. So honestly, it's difficult to shut him down. You have to really shut him down. Yeah. And when we talk about shutdown, this is 20 CS at 10 minutes.
Yeah, no,
that never happens. And then he just runs rampant. So
yeah. I mean, you can get out of lane with maybe a couple of CS over him, 20.
Yeah,
and he'll be fine because that first dragon fight comes down, he gets 2 kills, and there we go.
Yeah,
goal disparity made up.
Yeah, it's difficult to stop him from getting those kills as well because he's always going to be in place to at least get one here and there because of the Rift Walk and then the teleport as well if he chooses to go for it. So, yeah, you either finish the game really, really quickly or you just have to deal with the Kassadin somehow later on in the game.
My mind's still back on those placeholders.
Yeah, we theory crafted them as well. We made sense of those placeholders.
Yeah, we made sense through lunacy.
Yeah,
it was
indeed. All right,
so probably makes us sound crazy if people didn't see the SK game when we're Nidalee in the AD carry role.
Totally that's standard, right?
Completely doable. Yeah, that's 100% legit.
Man,
if you did miss that, week 2, was that day 1?
Maybe.
Game SK Prime.
What is for sure? We're in game. Yeah. Onto the Rift. We don't have Gamers 2, so there probably won't be a pause. Ninjas in Pyjamas versus Reason Gaming. I keep looking at the mouse tag, but we are on to the Rift. Everyone fanning out into their jungle. See if we see any early aggression. We did see some from Ninjas in Pyjamas earlier. In fact, one of the only teams to make any sort of aggressive play into the early game. That's when they went for the lane swap up, and does not look like they're interested in doing that in this game, in this matchup. And Rengar is quite happy right now.
He is.
He's having a great time.
Oh, he's not going to be so happy anymore.
Oh. He dodges it.
Apparently he is.
He's still happy. He's still chuckling.
It's mating season.
Oh.
Well, that's not PG-13.
We'll be moving away from that lane. Alexich, what interaction are you going to have with Livic? Award.
Oh, dear.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Bot lane. Makler,
wow.
freeze. Wow. VM.
Man, NIP, they're sending mixed signals here.
They really are. Mid lane, Q is kind of trying to land those kill shots. Bot lane, the Void Poppy, Cogmore.
I thought you said Void Poppy then. That
Void
would be
Poppy.
a horrifying
man.
skin. Almost as horrifying as Lollipoppy.
Yeah.
Man, that splash out.
I don't even want to imagine. Well, I can imagine the Lollipoppy. I can't imagine the Void Puffy.
You don't want to imagine the Lollipoppy.
No, I do not. Oh
wow.
Be some very aggressive poking in top lane. That could be misinterpreted considering what happened earlier on.
Oh, man.
Zayu, take fun.
Ooh, lane swap.
Lane swap is on the cards, and an invade is also on the cards.
We have not seen, other than in the game earlier, We've not seen too much of, I thought it was going to be a 4v1 situation.
Ku, you do not want to be there, son. Oh, Jet's jumped on by the Rengar, jumps over the wall. The Ignite is ticking, follows after. He will get the jump from this, leaps onto him. First blood goes to Rengar. Livic is still tanking up the blue buff. Irelia is there as well. They'll get away with this.
They will. That was a really well-worked invade there. They knew exactly what was going. Zayu got the kill. Yes, he burned Flash, but that is going to be 100% worth it. Now, they've taken away the blue buff from NIP, and Ku may be off his comfort zone to begin this game.
That's exactly what they did earlier today. So, Reason Gaming fighting fire with fire onto Ninjas in Pyjamas, and Ku is quite far behind now. It just depends whether Zayu wants to go straight back to his blue buff and then try and secure that, as Ku no doubt will try and steal that one away. Makler and Livic have had some time to poke away at this top turret. Will have that extra early armor, meaning that it will have a little bit of extra tanky stats. Makes it harder to take down in the first 8 minutes of the game.
You can see in this mid lane, Takefun's using a lot of his mana to try and force Alex away. Stuns him. There you go, lands a bit more damage, and it's kind of showing in the CS the way that Alex is having to wait for it to push well towards his tower before he can actually get the last hits. So it means that you kind of got this forever up and down CS motion. And, oh, top lane, Zayu walks over a ward.
He does, and Kavachard backs off. Javelin Toss comes through, notifies Zayu of his presence, aggroes the white, and Ku is now trying to take away that blue buff. Jokis has reacted, and only level 1 has placed down the ward. Alex is just flashing up red, however, taking some harassment from Take Fun. The action is up at top lane. Lipic lands a concussive blow. Zayu over the wall, gets in range of them onto the minions. Makler is separated from the pack. Woodle drags him in with the flake. Can he go one better and land the death sentence? No, he can't because he's level 1. Cabbage jumps straight onto Makler, gets the pounce. Wolf pounce once again. Auto attack. Javelin toss. Auto attack. Kill onto Makler.
Really nice kill there. They knew that they'd zoned Libic and Zayu all the way around the side. They really shouldn't have been able to get a kill on Makler there.
Ku is trying his best to take away this blue buff. He will have the smite, but Joe Keys was very close to taking that away. Now level 3, Lipic dropping low in the top lane. Is ticking down from the Ignite. Cabachard may be taken down here by Zayu. He will land a bowler onto Voidal. Will land the next couple auto attacks. Battlecry comes out. Flay did push him backwards as well. Unbreakable. Jumps straight in front of Zayu, lands the last auto attack, has the concussive blows, dragged into the tower, hour by the death sentence, gets 1, gets 2, Libic, can he follow with the second? Yes he can, 3 for 2, and that's the double kill coming out.
Oh man, that reset on the leap, that killing a unit grants the extra cooldown onto Pounce, and wow, that just so much damage down. Really nice hook. Once again, Voidal just showing that, yep, maybe he likes to pick Braum a lot, but his Thresh is very, very strong. And NIP going back to a playstyle that they used to a long time ago. I say a long time around DreamHack. Freeze solo laning in this 2v1 situation. Voidal has been with the top laner, and NIP have always felt very confident with this because Freeze gets an easy time in lane.
And NIP have more than stabilized in this game after a really rough start. Not only has Ku evened up the buffs, but they're actually ahead in this game by 800 gold. Cogmore 41 CS, 35 to Tristana. His counterpart, Lipic, may be caught out here. Cabachard follows up the auto attacks. Voidal, can he connect the death sentence? No, he cannot. He receives a Winter's Bite for his troubles. Makler trying to last the last auto attack from concussive blows as well. Javelin toss brings Lipic even closer to death.
Coincidentally, we've actually ended up in a situation where we're seeing this Nidalee in a duo lane, which is kind of funny because it shows how strong Nidalee is in a lane, the utility aspect of her kit when you're given a second person as well.
That's a bowler coming out that will be in power, keeping him in place. The auto attacks will be enough. No, it will be not. Voidus comes through, deters them from going for the dive. That's a 7 CS Irelia currently. For the bot lane, Makler gets dragged in from the Flay. Cabachard with the auto attacks once again. Has the red buff. Take Fun. Oh, in the mid lane, Ku does not connect his Sonic Wave, and that would have been a kill for Serpent.
It is not often you see Ku miss one of those.
No.
That was a sitter, and he really should have got that. But, you know, that's just the way it is. Sometimes you don't hit all the skill shots, but it's nevertheless put the pressure on to Take Fun.
Livic has been drawn in once again, trying to get the execute. Kabachar takes him out with the takedown. And Makler underneath this turret. Kabachar looking to do all he can. Right up the arcane comes through. Double kill. Was able to take him up in the top lane. Alexic moves away from the last charge of right of the arcane. Does not kick up that kill. 5 and 2. Ninjas in Pyjamas are gradually getting ahead of Reason Gaming.
So much going on here. There's so many kills all the way around. But as you said, NIP are the ones that are picking them up. Ever since the early game now, Reason just have not got themselves into this game. They even set up the lane swap that they wanted, but it's played right into NIP's hands. They've coped with lane swaps so very well throughout all of the recent patches. And, you know, as I said, Freeze will sit in that solo lane, put the pressure onto the enemy's solo laner, and make sure that they're getting kills onto their top lane. All of the kills, all 5, have gone to Nidalee, and that is a scary prospect. That's
going to be accelerating his item build so incredibly fast. And Trinity Force is going to be what he's looking for. Eye of Destruction comes out from Take Fun, pushes Alexic back, but even at the stage in the game, he's shrugging off that harassment. That's not what you want in the mid lane. We haven't even really touched on Alexic in the mid lane after all the action in the other two, in the top and bottom. But he's been farming pretty well. He's keeping up to pace with his lane opponent. Take Fun has definitely not shut him down.
And Jokies right now is thinking, oh my god, a 5 and 0 Nidalee has just come into my lane. How do I sit here? I'm already behind on CS. What do I do in this lane? And right now there's not too much. You can see he got the easy CS and then just backs away from the lane.
What can he do? He's level 5. His lane opponent is 2 levels above him, has 5 kills over him, and has the makings of a Trinity Force. Zayu in a battle for death with the double golems. He will come out on top. Bravo.
Hey, some lesser players have died for them.
And other buffs, in fact. Voidal Freeze in the top lane in this duo lane. Oh, doesn't land onto Makler. Tries to do the Mind Games thing where he's like trading blows with Livic and then goes for the AD carry. Didn't turn out this time.
I mean, right now, probably the lane that's going as expected for them is the Xerath lane, which is fine, but we already talked about how you need to shut a Kassadin down. So he's trading even, but being even with Kassadin is playing right into Kassadin's hands. That's exactly where he wants to be at this stage of the game, if not ahead.
You can't just do okay against the Kassadin lane. At least he hasn't snowballed, but the same can't be said for Nidalee, who's sitting on 5 kills and a large portion of his Trinity Force. So the action has died down just a little. Jokies has resorted to jungling because he just doesn't want to set foot in his lane any longer. And they will be donating that second buff to him. Freeze, Voidal in the top lane. Just trying to put down the harassment onto Makler. Living Artillery will do that just fine. Lantern's back to his support as well.
This is just going so well for NIP. I mean, Reason scaling champions are put behind already, so naturally NIP are going to hit their power spikes a lot earlier here, and Reason kind of have nothing to contend with them. They're relying now on Xerath's mid-game damage to coast them through a lot of the fights, and then mistakes in positioning from NIP. That really is what Reason are going to have to bank on, and it's the first dragon which is a long way off because of the way that the duo lanes are in the top side of the map. There's a long time until Dragon, but here's an ultimate out of Zayu.
Yeah, he's popped his ultimate, looking to move onto Freeze, but he will be dragged back to his support of Voidal, and now Ku comes for the counter guy. Dragon's Rage is back, but Rengar does not connect the Sonic Wave. Will be flashing out, has the Ignite ticking. Livic lands a perfect Winter's Bite, keeping him at range. Living Artillery misses the first, and will not be enough to just secure it with a second. So a big scrap up top lane, but no one will be dropping.
Yeah, Xerath is en route to the top lane as well.
Right of the arcane, first one whiffs. Second one doesn't do anything. Zayu drops very low. Freeze did land another Living Artillery. Voidal comes across, lands the nice death sentence onto one, but Livic will be dragged back into the fight. Picks up one. Makler comes in from behind. And Freeze, can he go and just instantly pick up this next kill? Did manage to heal this one out. Voidal chiming in with the auto attacks. Take Fun trying to get that last bit of damage, but he's almost completely out of mana. Does he have the mana surge available to get that mana out? Eye of Destruction, not enough. And Voidal will be saying, okay, triple kill to the support.
Oh, Freeze just barely survived, and while that was all going... Nobody saw it.
No one saw that, don't worry,
Kevin. All going on, Cabochard and Alex took down Irelia, and that is a horrible position to be in. Irelia now at 0 and 1, under half the CS right now of Cabochard, who is 6 and 0. Let's take a look at the gold difference between the two. My goodness, double the gold right now Cabochard has of Jokeys.
You look at that and you wince.
Yeah, that is painful. And that's without dragons, without towers. That's purely kills and CS.
Well, the silver lining in that was actually the bot lane. Zayu will be stealthing up, but Alexich and Ku are on their way. They're en route to the bottom lane. Joki is trying to maybe stun up this target. No, he's just going to get blown up. And Ku will get that next kill. Alexich moves away from the tower, and it's just, this is not even, it's not even fair.
What this feels like right now, because they're not even focusing kills onto Alexich, what this feels like is Xerath has been let out on, like, from a nursery on a day out, and is just like, oh, Kassadin, I can finally see Summoner's Rift again. And he's not actually having any effect. Cabochard, I feel like he's looking to 1v2.
Well, he has been stunned up. Concussive blows will make sure that happens, but will, after the Buster Shot, just murder Makla. Jumps over the Glacial Fissure. Cabochard gets one. Can Libic have enough damage to go for this 1 versus 1? Well, Rengar in the butt. He may well do that.
Oh.
Gets the shutdown. 7 and 1. Alexich turns up. Clean up on top lane. And now chasing after Zayu as well. Does he have the damage? Does he have the chase? Well, he definitely has the chase. Riftwolf's over the bowler and gets the Force Pulse as well. Now out of mana, so they trade blows. But with Take Fun there in hot pursuit will be Q ward jumping forward onto Take Fun. Misses another Q, however. There's the Rift Walk. They should probably leave this engagement. Eye of Destruction gets a slow onto 2. Right off the Arcane. First one lands. Second one does not. Third will connect onto Alexich. Had all 3 of those landed, that would have been a very dead Kassadin, but that's not the case. Oh, almost feel like we've seen this one before, Stress. Jokeys does not land the flay, but I don't think it's going to matter. Dragged into the box, and Jokeys accepts his fate. Ku, however, has been caught out. Here's the Arcano Pulse, jump over the wall, will get him to his ally of Alexich, and this time lands the Q. Probably doesn't want to go fully Syndrome on this one. And 13-4, after all of that, kills aplenty, but most of them going to Ninjas and Pyjamas.
Yeah, it was only Cabochard that fell there, and Cabochard would have 1v2'd. If Rengar hadn't have turned up, he had another heal coming up, still had a lot of damage. And man, that just tells the story that the bot lane cannot deal with the Nidalee, who supposedly was in the 1v2 situation. She wasn't, because Voidal was there for the entire laning phase, and they got a load of kills from them, but the fact that the bottom lane for Reason are 1 and 4 tells pretty much the entire story of this game.
Yeah, and because Kog'Maw was technically in the solo lane, and then he just free farmed, so he's 40 CS above his lane opponent. Now with Makla and Take Fun heading into the bot lane, Freeze and Voidal, this will be a 2 versus 2. Make that a 3 versus 2. Freeze has been called out. Ad Destruction comes out. All right,
Yep,
we'll take that.
I mean, we read that all day long. I was going to maybe say it, that it's just going to be a Lantern out, but it's very obvious in that situation.
Yeah, Lantern out, Buster Shot. All right.
Yeah.
Apparently, Makla was not reading from the same page and just gives NIP a free passage to safety. Alexich pushing down the mid lane. Has the Rod of Ages complete at 15 minutes. Has really not been harassed out of his lane at all. Ku will also come in. Arcano Force over the wall, but they are just lacking damage and lacking everything. Ku and Alexich come in. Lands the Dragon's Rage. Lands the Execute. But he will be hit up by the turret. Over aggression. Over zealous. But I don't think it really matters in the end.
No, I don't think so either. Although Libic coming around the side, maybe they can get something done here.
However, they all can't get caught, or Libic could miss the Glacial Fissure, and they'll say, okay, job well done.
I want to give Libic the benefit of the doubt that he's expecting a Rift Walk away from him in that direction where Thresh is, but that's stretching for an excuse.
Yeah. Oh, Makla and Libic into the top lane. 4 versus 1, and he will drop. So he can't actually 4 versus 1 just yet.
No.
But he did draw the attention of 4 people, so not too bad.
Yeah, Alex is playing very aggressive here as well. He does have to be careful. He's got Rift Walk available, but I mean,
but Zayu did jump in with his ultimate. Alexich taking the Fresh Express back to Voidal. So they are getting a little overconfident. That's 2 kills that went down from NIP that they didn't need to lose.
yeah, and I want to talk a little bit about Alex with regards to the builds and, you know, dying. the fact that Alex has gone tier, which we don't always see on Kassadin anymore. Sometimes we see a couple of different builds, but he's basically saying, hey, you don't really need me right now. You don't need me to pack a load of damage out right now. So even though Cabochard's dying here and there, Alex is going to be unkillable in the late game once he's got that Seraph's Embrace built. Oh, here goes the engage.
Who is looking for the insect? Doesn't even matter. He'll just execute, take fun. Dies where he stands. Levick and Zayu are the last two remaining members to defend this middle turret as Irelia heads back to base. A smooth pickup from NIP.
Yeah, indeed. This is likely to have they damage that turret a little bit. They may look for it, but they're pressuring multiple lanes at the same time. So Nidalee left alone in the top lane would take the tower. They are going to send Irelia, which gives them the numbers advantage in the middle lane. They want the engage.
Well, Death Sentence onto Levick. The follow-up as well from Kassadin will be blocked out by the Unbreakable. And Levick will saunter back to his fountain. That will be Cabochard taking a turret in the top lane. I think they're just giving up hope in the top lane. No one is even there to stop him.
I mean, the person that should be able to deal with Nidalee is Irelia. That's the picks. How the picks went through. They were the 1v1 matchup, and look at the CS difference. It's still double.
Well, Death Sentence very close to Makler. Libic jumps forward. Glacial Fissure lands onto one. Voidal may be dropping, but they've got so much damage behind her. Cabochard comes in from the back lines. Libic surely will be dropping. Zayu was the first casualty of the fight. Alex is looking to clean up. There's the second. They will clean him up in return, so a 2 for 2. This is not the worst case scenario for Reason Gaming, and they have repelled the assault for now.
I feel, though, that Irelia is so far behind. A kill going to Irelia is kind of like trying to bail water out of a sinking ship with a tiny bucket. I mean, yes, it'll help, but if Freeze overextends, that is one thing that will give Reason an opportunity to come back. But the gold lead is staggering right now.
And despite all that, they lost the tower anyway, so they still came out behind, despite what was essentially the perfect team fight for them, and the perfect scenario. So, falling further and further behind on Reason, they're just grasping at straws. Coup starting up with the Dragon, Cabochard, and they will easily take this objective. And pretty much everything on their side of the map, then up to the river, is theirs. Yeah. Reason Gaming cannot enter that territory, for it is NIP's.
Cabochard is so strong right now, looking for that Blade of the Rune King, just about has enough to finish that off. So he's going to head back. Probably going to clear this wave, I'd imagine. Be a bit sloppy if he didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a wave.
Clean up after yourself, Cabochard.
It's like, oh, Siege Wave. I don't want it. I can already afford everything. But no, he'll likely head back, finish that Blade of the Rune King. To be honest, I've not really... I've seen Nidalee's doing well. I've not really seen Nidalee's at 8-2 this early on. So I'm wondering how he's going to maximize his damage and maximize his build as to kind of this situation when he's ahead.
Well, a 20-minute, 2-item Nidalee. Quite strong. Coup, Voidal, Alex Itch, the 3-man Terror moving into the top lane. Well, good luck to you. Alex Itch follows up with the Force Pulse. There's a knockback. Coup lands the Q and kills him.
Made it look so easy.
Oh, Zayu in the mid lane doesn't land the bowler. Flash out from free, so burns the summoner and does not pick up the kill. So it's a small victory for Reason Gaming.
There's a hunting pack coming around the backside of mid lane, though.
There is indeed. The hunter has become the hunted. Alex is there, but they don't even need him. Q jumps over the wall, lands the Q, drag back with Flay as well. Zayu not going anywhere, neither is Libic. The death sentence says you are not leaving here. And Libic tanking all that damage, but Freeze, Q, and everyone else will finish him off. Cabochard will be dropping here. Makler, though, right off the arcane, raining in with those barrage of shells, but he do not pick up a kill. Take fun. Only a matter of time before Alex gets his double. 4 kills to 1. And Ninjas in Pyjamas, they're just all over this game. Yeah,
Ninjas in Pyjamas are so far ahead right now. And that was Cabochard 2v1 against both carries that Reason Gaming had. And I'm pretty sure he even got stunned up during that. So no surprise that he dies in that 1v2. But that's an inhibitor tower going very low. Yeah, is going to get taken down. So NIP That's a fantastic position to be in game one of a best-of-3 grand finals.
It's a very nice edge, and even though this might be Reason Gaming testing the waters, and this is not as well as they're going to perform in other games, Ninjas in Pyjamas come into this, and Reason Gaming have to win 2 on the bounce now. 21-minute victory. That was actually one of the fastest games we've seen in the tournament so far in the grand finals.
Oh man, that was so good of a performance out of NIP. I mean, they got the lanes they wanted. I don't even know whether they got the lanes they wanted coming out of Champion Select, but they defaulted back to that. Voidal goes with the top laner, Freeze on his own, Cabochard. Again, we've seen Nidalee in this duo lane go absolutely insane. The other fastest game we had was the SK Gaming Prime game that they won in 20 minutes off a surrender with Nidalee in a duo lane, which I don't think is going to happen too often. But teams need to start thinking, okay, how do we deal with this if it does come up?
Yeah, and coming out of Champion Select as well, they picked up the Caston, they picked up the Nidalee, and it was just like, oh, Caston, he's going to be the focal point of this team. And fully enough, it was actually the top lane and the bottom lane that crumbled, and then Caston and Alex Sitch was just like, oh, well, I guess I'll just pick up my kill here and pick up my kill there, and just farm out my laning phase. He didn't actually have to do anything in that game. He just had to sit back and wait for his team to just win in their lanes respectively. And that was the story of that game. It really was just everyone winning in their lanes.
Yeah, that must be a pretty nice feeling for a mid laner to be like, oh, you guys have got this.
yeah. Usually it's the other way around. It's the mid laner making the plays, roaming to other lanes, having the jungler chime in, but
it's like, finally, I don't have to carry you all for this game. No,
it's like, sit back, and, with your fold-out chair and...
Man, that was impressive. And to be honest, we questioned earlier in the week NIP heading into the promotion series, or what will eventually be the LCS promotion series. They didn't look on their game against Unicorns of Love. They were caught out by some unorthodox plays and really crumbled. But in this game, that's the NIP that everybody says is going to be an LCS team. And they just demolished Reason Gaming, who took down Unicorns of Love, who demolished NIP.
Bit weird. It's a very
EU
strange
Challenger.
triangle.
Everybody beats everybody.
Yeah, but Ninjas in Pyjamas, it will be a very nice confidence boost if they can go 2-0 in this grand finals of the FACEIT Challenger Invitational. But we will be jumping to a very quick break, and when we get back, we'll be in the second game of this best of 3. Don't go anywhere.